Joining us now to talk more FC Cincinnati is a very special guest, Lindsay Patterson, the sideline reporter for FC Cincinnati. You can see her on our sister station at all the home games on Star 64. Lindsay, we just saw another magical moment for FC Cincinnati. It was getting a draw last night, but Danny Koenig's goal with just about 2 minutes remaining, getting a point. You want to get 3, but you got 1. With that many people in the stands, how special was that moment last night?
What is awesome about this team this year, we've talked about it pretty much all season, the depth they have. Bringing Danny off with about 30 minutes left, it's not surprising. You can't count these guys out. Alan will tell you that. And yes, you want to walk away with 3 home points. That's hard for them. But to get 1 on a short week with the emotional week of the Open Cup, these guys will take it right now and they can rest their legs for about a week. So it was good.
Obviously, 2 trains right now for FC Cincinnati. They're still on that U.S. Open Cup train after the win over Miami FC earlier in the week. If you get sort of dropped out of a spaceship and just started paying attention to soccer, you would say, okay, FC is in the top 4 in the entire United States soccer landscape, but they're 6th in their division in the USL. How can you explain sort of that disconnect?
And that has been the question over the last 2 to 3 weeks when you look at the standings, because they've been up, they've been down, but they've been sitting in that 5 and 6 and 7 range right now. And I just mentioned it with that U.S. Open Cup run. I think it is just that midweek match. It's always on a Wednesday with the Open Cup because you are dealing with the MLS schedule and everybody is an MLS team except for FC Cincinnati right now in the tournament. So I think it's really just the resting legs, but when Saturday comes around, when their next match in the USL play, it's a little different for the club. I don't want to say that they're not prepared. They're always ready, but I think it's just minutes with some of the guys and what they've had to deal with as far as the starting 11.
FC likes to just add news upon news upon news. So U.S. Open Cup, they had a game last night. In between there, they extended head coach Alan Koch. He said when he took the job that it was going to take some time for the players to get used to him and vice versa. What does extending Alan Koch, what message does that send to FC, the players, the fans, to everybody?
You know, I think after winning that was the perfect timing for this club. And when you see that with other teams, not even in Cincinnati, after a playoff win mid-season, sometimes it doesn't happen even in this city. It's normally after the season. I think what he's been able to do, to come in when he did, we talked to him probably back in March when he first took over the team, right after they announced him as the head coach. And he said, hey, it's going to be a process. It's going to take time. I'm going to get these guys into mid-season form eventually. But right now we're in preseason mode right before the season started. And I think he needed, the guys to believe in this process. And you can talk to all of 11 of them, 18 of them, everybody on that roster who don't play, who play, a management staff. They're all believing what Alan can do. And I think one thing that I love to watch about him, and this is going back a tiny story real quick, it was practice. And one of the players came up to him in April and they said, Coach, this is what I want to do with this situation, and I want to talk to you about it. And Alan said, nope, we're going to talk to each other about this as a group. So he got the whole team. They all talked about it to fix the issue. So he wants everybody to be open. It's an open book. He's there to help everyone, and I think all of them are buying in.
Yeah, that type of process, you don't really see that much in professional sports. Let's talk about Djiby for a minute. Obviously, when he's on the field, he's a difference maker for this team. The problem is, he's not on the field all the time because he's getting suspended. He's been suspended earlier in the season for the incident against Louisville. He was suspended on Saturday night for accumulating the 2 yellow cards against Rochester. Whether you believe what he did against Rochester was worthy of a suspension or not, has anyone really sort of talked to him, or have they talked as a team about don't put yourself in situations because you've got a target on your back? They're looking to get you out of the game almost. Yeah,
I think that's a message for the whole team. Personally, I've never heard that with him, but I think that Djiby knows that. When you're under a microscope from the past suspension and things that have happened, he has to know that that's going to get called a little closer. I know some had issues with some of the calls in Rochester, and they were a little tight, but they have moved on from that. And I think with Djiby, he has to. He's a phenomenal player. When he's out there, you can see back in the Open Cup what he's been able to do when he is in the starting 11. It's great for this team. But I think it was a lesson learned, but moving forward, it's just something that they've moved on from.
Lindsay Patterson does sidelines for FC Cincinnati. Again, you can catch her on Star 64 for all of the regular season USL matches. Also do radio for the games that aren't on our network. So very busy down on the sidelines. Lindsay, thanks for taking time.
No problem.